You know, I'm 23 years old. I'll be 24 next month, but I feel 80 years old, you know? Like it just feels like the amount of life that I've already lived is just like is quantified to being 80 years old. And it's weird because like I also find myself experiencing things that like older people experience. Like for example, my grandfather, who unfortunately passed away in 2020, he always used to say like life moves at the speed of your age, right? And so basically, whatever age you are, like is the speed that you're moving at. It's like think of like a car speed or whatever. Like I don't think I have to over explain that, but so I should be moving at 23 miles an hour. That's what I should be moving at, but I feel like I'm moving 80 miles an hour. Like, because just a couple months ago, I was just in a completely different situation, like living in a completely different other state. And like at the snap of a finger, I'm in a completely different like environment and like situation, you know? And it's just weird because like life feels like it's moving at 80 miles an hour right now. Like life is moving so freaking fast. Like it's already June, like I remember it being New Year's, you know? So it's just so weird how fast life is moving. And, the other thing is, too, is like, I don't know, like I feel like my experience and like my emotional intelligence and stuff, like not trying to be that guy or toot my own horn or be narcissistic, but it's like sometimes like the type of problems that I see like the people in my generation having, I'm like kind of like that's it. Like I feel like there's more like it just seems like trivial to me, like I mean I guess for example I used to have like these roommates just a couple months ago, um, and one of them like his biggest issue with his life was that his girlfriend broke up with him. And I just remember he was like it just completely tore him apart, and he was just like really going through it. And it wasn't that I didn't feel bad for him at all, but it just seemed like it was a gift in disguise that he didn't realize, because like the girl pretty much did the whole like typical like, oh, it's not you, it's me. I just want to see other people discover myself, which I'm not going to, go into detail about that, but if you're anything like me, you understand what that means. I'm not going to spell it out for you. But it completely tore him apart, but to me I'm looking at it and I'm like that's honestly like a gift, because if she's gonna leave you for some trivial reason like that, where she needs to like discover herself, so to speak, like that's probably a good thing, because if it wasn't gonna happen then, it was gonna happen later on when you were more established, and it was gonna be more traumatic and more like devastating and damaging to your life. Because imagine she decides to walk out on you when you have kids and a house and a life, you know? And again, it's not to say like, oh, this guy's a freaking, like, not a man or subhuman or whatever. Like, like, because I mean, feelings are subjective, but at the same time, it's like I feel like if something were to happen to me like that, I'd be like, well, like it's okay, because like life moves on, and there's plenty of fish in the sea, right? And that just wasn't the right one. And like the other thing too is I just feel like I just find myself relating so much more to older people than I do to like my own generation. Like I have like my share of friends in my generation that are around my age and everything, and I relate to them, but besides them it feels like everyone in my generation is just like fake, and for the most part, and it just seems like they're just like chasing after like a life that is not going to fulfill them, and they know that it's not going to fulfill them, but it's almost like they haven't lived it yet. So without living it, they don't know that it's not going to fulfill them until it actually happens, so to speak. Like they need to learn the hard way. And I don't feel like that because I've already feel like I've lived through that. You know what I mean? Even though I'm only 23 and I've never like I haven't lived that much life, but I feel like I have for some reason, like maybe like in my head or something. Um, but yeah, like because I remember I used when I was living in like in the Midwest. This was just a couple months ago. I was working at Walmart, and like there was a lot of people that were like around my age, but I mean, the person that I related to the most was 40 years old. Like he was like just a normal, hardworking dude. Um, he was 40 years old, and I found myself relating to him more than like anyone that worked there that was my age, you know. And it's just weird because I just don't relate to people my age as much. Like that's why I just feel so old, and I feel like I just feel like I'm ahead. You know what I mean? Like and I genuinely feel so like narcissistic and like expressing myself this way, but like I just feel like I don't even know like how to like articulate it. Like I feel like I've just lived so much more life, so like the things that like all these people are about to experience I've already lived. And so to me it's just trivial now. And so I feel like I'm like in older age, and I can understand where like people who are that age are coming from, because like you know how like like college professors or teachers will like like the way that they teach things, like because the art of teaching, right? Like this is going to seem a little off topic, but just stick with me here. Like stay with me. The art of teaching is being able to be at a high level of teaching but dumb it down for people who aren't at your level of understanding, right? And so it's almost like I'm at the level of understanding that, a 40, 50, 60, 70, 80-year old is at, but I'm only 23 and no one else is like around me feels that way. So it's hard to like articulate myself, and it's hard to like help people understand like where I'm coming from because they're just not at that level of thinking yet. So it's easier for me to relate to the people who are middle-aged or, or geriatric because I'm at that plane of thinking, you know? And it's also just like the lack of like BS that I'm willing to put up with. And that just might be who I am, but I feel like as people get older, they just put up with less BS because they know who they are, and they know that, the people that they want to be around and the people that they want to surround themselves with and what they want to do with their life. And I'm at that point where like I just don't want to put up with any more BS anymore. You know what I mean? Like because like I said earlier, there's like so many people in this generation that are fake, and they're just chasing like all these artificial lives that aren't going to fulfill them and aren't necessarily what their passion is, but they're just told to do that because their parents did it, and and their parents did it, and like the whole like American dream thing. And it just feels like weird because because they're putting on this facade that you're trying to like dig through to get to like a meaning and to get to a connection with that person, and you can't get there. You know what I mean? Because they're just putting up such a wall because they don't know who they are yet. So since they don't know who they are yet, they like want to just like they don't want you to understand like who they are because they don't understand who they are yet. I don't know if that makes sense, but it just doesn't make any sense. Like because I feel like people who are middle aged or geriatric are people who like understand themselves more, and so they're more willing to go like deeper, faster, or at all because they understand that like putting on a facade is trivial, and real connection comes from being vulnerable and being yourself and being authentic. So like and I'm like I'm just at that point where I'm just like so socially tired where I only do hang out with people that match that type of energy, where they're truly trying to pursue the things that they love because they um because they almost like know better. You know what I mean? Because it almost just feels like because I'm almost repeating myself. So I'm gonna end the video here soon, but yeah, it just almost seems like a lot of people in this generation are just putting on a facade, and you have to like dig deep, and you still can't even really understand them, or whatever. And and if you can't really understand them, how are you supposed to truly connect with them on a spiritual level and really develop a connection with that person, you know? Because you're constantly because they're constantly fighting with you and constantly measuring up. Because that's how it felt with that, like the guy at Walmart that I work with. Like I felt like I related to him so much more, versus my roommates who were, around the same age as me at the time, because he was more like open and more, and he had lived life, and he was like, he didn't really care what people thought of him, and he wasn't putting up this wall or this facade or this like persona that he wanted people to see. Whereas I could just look into the eyes and pay attention to what my roommates at the time were saying and understand that they weren't being themselves, and they weren't really being truthful, and they were kind of giving into their fears, and they were just giving into trying to fit in the world, because that's the other thing. It's like I don't really feel the need to fit in at all, and I feel like that's also something that old people just don't care about because they're old. Like they've already lived life. They've probably tried it. Maybe they fit in for a while and then they're old. Now it's trivial. Who cares? And so that's how I feel. I just don't want to put up with BS anymore. I don't want to constantly try to fit in anymore. I don't want to put up a facade of someone who I'm not. So I just feel like 80 years old or older, 60, 70, 80 years old, but I'm 23, you know? So, but I don't know. I think I've said enough. I've probably, looped around quite a bit. So I'm just going to end the video here. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.